Shall we start? All right, boss. Good morning. Thank you for coming, especially welcome to people who came to Diamond Mountain. I know most of you traveled a long way, and thank you for coming. And thank you, Sunam, for Diamond Mountain and Gelsey and everybody else. It's really, really beautiful. It's amazing. The weather is perfect. This is the 1 week autumn and 1 week spring. So we're very lucky, right? And it's beautiful. And thank you for the place. Thank you for coming. I know it's a long journey. It's expensive probably to do the journey, and you're probably sleepy from the journey, but here we go. Every Saturday and every Monday, I teach a translation class. On Saturday, I teach one class, which is mainly for Europe and the United, early waker-uppers in the United States. I guess I should talk slower. And on Monday, I teach two classes in the afternoon because there's more people. Then people can watch it in US and Asia, okay? And we have a rule that I always teach it, no matter where I am or what I'm doing. And it took about almost 2 years for the directors of the different organizations to understand that, but I think they almost did now, because I think it's an important part of what we do. It's the ancient sources, and I know that the translation classes are hard, and I know that you don't understand a lot of the stuff. And what does Grandpa always say about it? If I teach something you already know, there's no reason to come to the class, I think. So I like to give you something that you don't know. And but then that takes more patience. Normally as adults, we don't learn new things. After we finish university or something, we don't learn new things. Basically, we don't learn new things. So I always teach that. No matter where I am, what I'm doing, I teach that. On Saturday morning, we start with a meditation because ACI has asked me to record 101 meditations. What was it? 101 Dalmatians, right? Dogs. So anyway, I've been recording meditations for future generations of the Lamrims. And we'll be doing one today. It's a little bit unusual, okay? And this meditation will be mostly open eyes and listening, okay? And we do 45 minutes meditation, and then we take a 15-minute pee-pee break, and then we, some people take longer, okay? And then we start the translation class. Today's translation class is Tim Lowenhout, the director of ACI. And he's translating an extraordinary commentary on the perfection of wisdom, middle way, perfection of wisdom. And that's 8 volumes. It will take 50 years. So I don't know what's going to happen. We have a handwritten copy, and there's one printed copy I've seen, one woodblock I've seen in the whole world. It's in St. Petersburg, and we're trying to get it for about 20 years, but trying to get a copy. But anyway, we'll see. Okay. Today's meditation is in the Lamrim. It's at the very beginning, and it's a description of your Dharma career. Okay, like what will your Dharma career B. And typically in the rim, we have two different options, okay? And one is called, say, Lam Rimba, Shumbawa. Lam Rimba, Shumbawa. Okay, good. Lam Rimba means an approach, as you know, a step-by-step approach. And oftentimes it's experiential, meaning that the teacher will teach you a practice or a meditation and explain it in the class, and then you go back to your cabin or you go back to your real life and you try to internalize it and you try to become that thing. And then sometimes they wait until you master the first level before they will teach you the second level. But that would take a few hundred years. So normally I've, in the last 14 years, I've been going through the Lamrim just step by step and guiding meditations and things like that. So that's called Lamrimba approach. And it fits some people very, very well. And then Shungbawa, Shung means main highway. And it also came to mean the classics or the great books of ancient times. And normally there were 5 great books and a commentary to each. So in the old days, they wouldn't say Geshe so much. They would say Kachupa, say Kachupa. Ka means also ancient classics. Chu means 10, and Kachupa means master of the 10 great books. And that's more of a more detailed approach, and it probably takes longer, like 25 years in the Geshe course. And the point that I want you to think about today is that everybody has a different personality, and everybody has different goals, and everybody has a different life situation. You might have a family situation, you might be single, we don't, So each person has a different personality, each person has a different talents. We call calm, inner talent. And each person has a different family situation or life situation. So there's different approaches. And ACI, the history of ACI is that, by the way, I was in New York last week, I guess, and I visited the Three Jewels Center. They asked me to give a talk, and we started that place 31 years ago. And it was a nice, it's nice that they invited me to come. And ACI originally in New York, I was finishing my Geshe degree, and I wanted to teach a version of the Geshe degree that didn't take 25 years. And I thought you could shorten the important stuff. By the way, 25 years in the monastery, as Jack and Rebecca found out, they don't study every day and they don't study all day. Like, they'll take 2 months off, or it's pretty chaotic, actually, the Geshe course. And my pre-Geshe exam, somebody told me 2 minutes before the exam I should run to the temple because I was going to get examined to see if I could become a Geshe after 20 years of work, And they gave me about 5 minutes to get there, and that's very typical. So I don't think they're sitting there for 25 years and studying all day. They take a lot of breaks. If some big teacher is going to teach in up in the Himalayas, everybody will leave. Then visitors come to the monastery and there's nobody there, you know. And so anyway, but I thought it was too long. I thought you could shorten it to 7 years. So I shortened it to 7 years, and we created a ACI course that takes 7 years. And then the students in New York who finished the 7-year ACI course, 18 foundation courses, which is really 15 courses plus 3 review courses. Then I allowed them to come to Diamond Mountain. And I think there was 80 survivors from New York who came here. And then this was a 7-year Diamond Way course. And it was intense. And so it's 14 intense years, you know. And then there are other subjects which you have to study. Anyway, so I was at Princeton, and I haven't gone back for almost, 20 years or something. I haven't gone back there. There's a Diamond Silk Entrepreneur University MBA program. They asked me to go to Princeton and teach there for the MBA program. And we went to the hotel across the street from the university so we could tell everybody we taught at Princeton. So anyway, but it was pretty awesome. And then they asked me to give classes at my old diamond jewelry company. And so I haven't been there for 20-something years. And that's a huge, huge building. It's one of the largest, it is probably the largest manufacturing building in Manhattan. And so that building was sold to a movie company. After Warren Buffett bought our company, he moved the company. And then and nowadays they rent it out. So we rented a whole floor. And we had classes there, and it was really nice. So anyway, at Princeton, I have a story to tell you. So in general, I'm thinking there's a structural problem with ACI, which is that there's too much to learn. There's too much to master, If you really had a PhD ACI, right? ACI PhD, it would easily take 25 years, to master everything for ACI. The Lam Rim took 14 years. The Diamond Way took 7 years. The ACI Foundation took 7, that's 28 years. And that doesn't mean you're a teacher. That means you learned the stuff. So to be a teacher, maybe 40 years, I don't know. It's too much. I think it's overwhelming for people. So Tim and I spent a lot of time working on it, and we were thinking, how do you really create an ACI teacher? Because 40 years is too much to ask, I think. Then they're too old to teach. They forget everything when they're 40 years, And it's just too much, And how do you check somebody is a good teacher? How do you make sure they're teaching the right thing? How do you make sure they're not hurting the students or taking advantage of the students? And it's very, very complex and very difficult. And so we had an idea, and it came from, ta-da, first picture. This is Princeton University last week, and this is the one. These are two of the MBA classes, EMBA and MBA classes, and we had classes there. And this is kind of an iconic house at Princeton, and at Princeton they call them houses. And it's similar at Oxford, and what's the other great university? Hogwarts. and there's houses. You see what I mean? And I don't know, you can call them, they're not quite fraternity or sorority. They are academic houses. And it's kind of a specialty, you know. So you can have we visited my department building. And it's a beautiful ancient building that was built in 1879. And that's where my department, I was in the Department of Religion. My degree was in religion with some Russian and Sanskrit. But this is one of the houses at Princeton. Right below there is called Matthew College, right? And at Princeton, you become a sort of a family member of a certain house, you know, and that becomes your house for the rest of your life, you know. And when people from Princeton, when you say, what house are you? They'll say a certain house. And then that's your affiliation. That's the house you belong to. In the monastery, they have 12 kamten, 12 traditional colleges or houses. And you guys are from Gerong house because you're my student. If your teacher's from Gerong house, you're from Gerong house. So Gerong, if you're interested, Gerong is East Tibet. And they speak a strange dialect between Chinese dialect and Tibetan dialect. So Kirumuchi Kiko Gyapke. Like that. It's a very strange dialect and only a few people understand it. And but what happened was, and in Princeton we had Arizona group, and we had California group, and we had England group, and you know, we had our own house. And then in time you get affiliated with a certain house, and that group of people in your house is like in the monastery. They are brought together by, it could be by region that they grew up, you know, and they speak the same dialect. But it could also be by what do you enjoy and what do you want to do with your life, you know? Like in your life, what would you like to be? And, you know, when you get out of Princeton, by the way, there's another tower like this. And one of my classmates, you have to finish a senior thesis at Princeton as an undergraduate, like a PhD thesis, not as long. And then he finished his thesis, which is very stressful. It takes about 8 months or something. And then he went up on top of that tower and he jumped off. He gave his thesis to his director, and he, you know, that was the first class member to pass away the day before graduation, you know. And it's really intense pressure, really, really intense pressure. So anyway, this is one house at Princeton, and so we took a picture there because it's such a beautiful tower, and it's such a beautiful place. And then I was wandering around with Rob and Stanley Nelson, and they took a film crew with us. They film everything. And it was really fun because everybody thought we were important. But actually we hired the film crew. So it was, then Rob and me decided anytime we go anywhere, we're going to hire a film crew. Because all the students were like, you know, and so anyway, we went for a walk, and I found the house that I was affiliated with was called Proctor House, okay? And and I lived there. They have their own building. And my last year, my last 6 months, I lived there. And it's for religion. It's for people who are focusing on, they want to go into a career of religion, some kind of religion. So we had Buddhist Geshe candidate, we had priest candidates, minister candidates. It's basically a house for people who want to devote their lives to religion. And it's I don't know how to describe it. If you saw Hogwarts, it's like your spirit or your karma, right? In Hogwarts, they use a hat and they predict what house you're supposed to be in. And it's very, very related to your seeds and your karma, and which house you end up in affects your whole life, the rest of your life, probably many lifetimes. And and it's a strange journey. It's a strange thing, I just showed up at Proctor House one day because they were serving free hamburgers. And, I wasn't vegetarian yet. And I ate a lot of them. And so anyway, but now I feel, there was a priest there. He's now in charge of Proctor House, and we sat down. The four of us sat down, and we had 5 of us, and we had a beautiful talk for an hour, I think. And he didn't even know who was the head of Proctor House when I was there, because I left 50 years ago, exactly 50 years ago. And I was telling him stories that he didn't know about Proctor House. And the house felt really special. I was in that house when my mom passed away. So I remember I was sitting there. So that house means a lot to me. And then I realized I have a big connection to this house. Now I'm stuck with 2 new projects for the house. He's like, oh, you're in business. Maybe you'd like to support something. And I'm like, yeah, I would like to support something. So I have supported, I'm supporting some projects there to train people in religion, to train people in spiritual path. And most of those people will become a priest or a minister or a monk. And it's a beautiful place. So I'm donating a couple of scholarships to that house. So what I was thinking while we were there was maybe the house structure could help ACI. Like maybe we could define, in my opinion, there are 5 houses of ACI. And it's to master all of them, it would take 30, 40 years. And I don't know if it's a good idea. I think you're too spread out. You see what I mean? How are you going to take 14 years of courses and then do the other things? If you add Diamond Way, then, and then if you add Lamrim, that's 28 years. And I think if ACI wants to produce masters, then I think it'd be like a PhD, like you don't go to Princeton and try to take all the PhDs. You go crazy and you would never finish. You would die first. And that's ACI also. So I thought, Tim and I thought to propose 5 houses. And of course, you could take all the topics you want out of ACI, and you're welcome to be a student in all 5 houses, or you're welcome to take all 5 different kinds of courses that ACI has. But if you want to graduate or you want to be a master, then our proposal is that you put on the hat and it tells you what house you're going to be in. Slytherin house. all right? And, like that. And then in time, I think it'd be nice. Those houses, anywhere I go in the world, my house is there. Like I went to Hong Kong, and my house has a branch there, and they welcome me like a family member, and it's cool, So you could have ACI houses like that. I mean, it'd be. We also went and did an interview at Madison's house, Madison House. What's it called? The other name, President's House. There's a small house at Princeton. It was the first house ever built, and it's a small, old-fashioned, wooden house, brick now, and it's called President's House. And who was there? We did an interview under the picture of James Madison, who's the first graduate student from Princeton and fourth president of the U.S. And his hair is similar. So we went there and we saw this beautiful house. And I think we'd like to propose 5 houses. And we'd like to propose that you can be a student in everything. That's fine. And you can jump around and take different courses. Like I took courses in psychology, history, music, philosophy. I took all kinds of different courses, but I majored. I focused in one house. And so we'd like to explore something like that, and it's kind of exciting to be there at the beginning, of a house. And these houses have lasted at Princeton for over 200 years, and they have a lot of history, and they have a lot of cool, vibration. The building is like has a feeling, has a deep feeling. And then the students, there's a song, Fight Ye Loyals, and you feel like it's your family, or you feel like this is my house, And so anyway, this is a meditation, by the way. You don't think so, but it may be the most important meditation you ever did. I'm going to go through the 5 houses, and it will take 5 days, okay? And maybe by the end of the week, you try to imagine what house you would like to be in. And the difference between this house and Princeton House is that you have to build it. I don't mean a physical place. I mean, you have to build a community of that house, and it will cover many countries, and it will cover many ages, and men and women, and okay. But this week, smell what house you would like to join. Okay, we don't have the hat. We tried to get the hat, so you're going to have to decide yourself. We should have brought my Geshe hat. So we'll talk about it for a week. We'll meditate, think about it for a week. And during this week, I will describe the different houses. And then, see which one you would like to, if it were already here for 200 years, which house would you like to join? Okay, you just have an extra detail. You have to start it. You have to help start it, okay? Which I think is exciting. I like to be, in business we call it ground, I like to start at the ground level. I like to be in at the ground level. It means I like to be there on the first day that they start the house, So we're going to describe the houses and then meditate on it, okay? This week, in your retreat. It's not a small decision. It's like, what's your PhD going to be? And at Princeton, you have to decide that when you are 18 years old, you have to decide what's your major. And then you have to follow that for the next 40 years or 50 years. You see what I mean? So it's a big decision. And think about it carefully. I have two theories. One is do what you're attracted to. It's like join the house that you're attracted to. That's one theory. Here's my other theory. Of all the topics in the Geshe course, the one which I hated the most was logic. Okay. And my teacher taught me logic for, 10 years. And he didn't speak English, but he thought he spoke English. And he had a guy sitting next to him who translated his English into English. And can you imagine that with logic? And it was terrible. And it was very frustrating, and I hated it. And I didn't know why he was teaching that, And then I remember I was walking. I used to live in a garage. There was no housing for me. I had to live in a garage, unheated garage in New Jersey, and on the cement floor. And I remember I was walking to my garage, and there was this tree. I don't know why. I stopped next to the tree, and I said, I'm going to learn this goddamn logic thing. I'm going to master it, And so I decided to master it. And I did. And it took years. And because I was so bad at it, I thought I should like to master it, And then, so, you hear what I'm saying? You can join the house, and don't forget, that means you're going to help create the house, which I think is fun. So maybe you want to choose the one that attracts you, okay? And that's kind of a wimpy way out. Wimpy means not courage, no courage. Or you could join the house that you hate the most and master it, because that means your personality or your mind is missing something. Okay, if you hate logic and you don't understand logic, that means out of all the Geshe course topics, you're missing that one. So maybe you want to join that house and make up for a hole in your personality. You see what I mean? To fill the hole in your personality. So I challenge you either way. I think there's a time and a place to join the house which is obviously attractive to you. And that's what I did at Princeton. I joined Proctor House. And these are all religious scholar fanatics. And I loved them, and they loved me, and many generations. And we all feel the same way. Or maybe you want to help build a house that you hate and is something you're not interested in at all and you're not good at. You see what I mean? So if you focus on something you're not good at, you become more whole. And so I encourage you to spend this week thinking which house you'd like to join or help create. And this is all experimental. This is because of a trip to Princeton and some experience I had there. It may fail completely. It may be a year from now, nobody even remembers the house talk. Okay, I don't know. But I think it would solve a problem with ACI, which is that it's hard to specialize in ACI. It's hard to get a PhD in ACI. There's so many courses, and there's so many programs, and there's even all kinds of teacher training things going on. Some are ACI, some are half ACI, some are called ACI and are not ACI. And, to have and by the way, those are fine. Those are wonderful. That's fine. As long as they don't hurt anybody, they're fine. But I would like to see a real ACI PhD. You could specialize in a, and by the way, when I say PhD, I don't mean a paper. Somebody asked, I was giving a talk to the EMBA, and it came up, somebody wanted to see my degree. That's the first person in my life who ever asked me to prove I went to Princeton. And I found it. I found the degree. I have a picture of it. And it was funny. It was in Latin. And we were talking about how modern universities are prejudiced towards Western classical knowledge, Greek and Roman, and they don't mention 5,000 years of Asian knowledge. You see, I mean, so our university is an attempt to balance the two. I'm going to go through the different houses, and you kind of see which one might be attractive to you. And that's an open-eyed meditation, okay? I call it an open-eyed meditation. It's kind of a contemplation, but you can continue it this week. And dream, okay? And dream. I want it to happen. And I think it will be good for ACI. Tim and me thought it would really help ACI for many hundred years, the way it has helped Princeton, for example. Nobody tries to get a PhD in everything. And socially, you hang out with people from your house, and you do things together, and you build a spirit. You build like a house spirit, and I like it. And when I went back to my house and sat there for an hour, I just wanted to cry. It was like, I'm home, So, okay. And then it would be like that. And then you specialize, and then you become a teacher in these are called houses of the masters, master houses, So the idea is you can take ACI the rest of your life. You can enjoy ACI. You're very welcome. But if you'd like to teach, if you'd like to pass it on, then our proposal is join a house and become a master of that. And that takes about 10 years or something. I don't know. I joined that house 50 years ago, and I'm just getting comfortable. Okay? So, I'm not saying it'll take 10 years, but I don't know. 5-year program, something like that. Okay? In your house. Like, what's a PhD take? PhD takes, depends on how much you have. I'd say 5. We'll talk about it, okay? All right, you're waiting for me to talk about 5 houses. We got about 7 more minutes, Tim? Okay, that's a cruel clock to put up for a grandpa. I need one with the big hands, Okay? All right, I'm just gonna give you the names of the 5 houses. We're just gonna start, okay? And then I'm gonna spend, Tim and I will spend the whole week giving you more information about each house, okay? But I think this is the real meditation in the next 5 minutes. And I want you to look at the associated image and see how you feel, okay? So this is not an intellectual decision. This is a heart feeling. You think, oh, that's my thing. If I became a master teacher, that's what I would like. So the idea is you can join the house your whole life. You can just be a member of the house. Or you can join the house, become a member, and then become a master inside that house. That's up to you. You don't have to teach. You don't have to be a PhD. But so you can just join that house and hang out with other people like you as a member of the house. But you could also work your way up to be a master at the house. And I would say I'm a master at Proctor House now after 50 years. You know, I feel like a master. And I was kind of telling the current director what he didn't know. Okay, but that's all the time. Anyway, so you can become a master in your house, or you could just become a member and enjoy for the rest of your life. Okay, being around your housemates. Okay. All right. First house is called Classics House. Okay, and we played with names, and you know, it was really just an excuse to eat more Peachtree cinnamon rolls. But first one is Classics House. And this is the classic ACI 7-year course, 18 courses, okay? The foundation courses, okay? Does that mean, Geshe, you just take those courses for the rest of your life? No. It means you're attracted to the classics. You know, when you open those notebooks, you feel, you know, okay? And I know there's some people in here like that, and I know there's a lot of people in here who are not like that. And there's a lot of people in the universe who are not like that. They look at those courses and they leave, you know? So if you're the kind of person who opens one of those 18 foundation course notebooks, and you go, ooh, this is so sexy, you know, then maybe you're a Classics House person. And in my mind, the picture I get is this, you know, it's like some kind of master scholar or something like that. Maybe a bookworm, but a practical bookworm, you know, okay? And it's a recognized part of the Lam Rim called personality types. What's your personality type? This is called the Shungbawa, say Shungbawa. They're attracted to the classics, and they slobber over Nagarjuna. Okay? And that's one option, okay? And that's the classic 18 courses of ACI foundation courses. They're called foundation courses, but they're hard-ass courses, as you know. They are Geshe quality. They are Geshe. This is basically a Geshe degree. Okay, so if the Geshe thing's attractive to you, or if it's not attractive at all, you might want to join Classics House. Okay, understand? Don't forget. You guys forgot really fast about that option. Okay, and we'll have many more details to share. But see where your heart goes pity pat. We call tick, tick, tick. Your heart goes, oh, that guy looks so cool. I want to be like that. Yeah. Okay, all right. Second house, and then we're done, okay? And then we'll take a pee-pee break and start the translation class. Samadhi house, okay? And this is a meditation master, okay? This person, the first person is attracted to the classics. The second person is attracted to becoming a meditation master, okay? And especially attracted to teaching their own students meditation, you know. So they are serious master. I'm not talking about people who never meditated before taking a 3-week course and then they become a meditation master, okay? Right? This is like, I spent 50 years at Proctor House. I'll let you do 40 if you want. But you're serious. You're a serious master. Master is master, okay? not a teacher training. Okay, it's you want to master it, and you want to be a lifetime. It's a PhD, meditation PhD. Okay, and by the way, this is not book learning only. This is heavy duty classics, texts on meditation, Bhavana Krama, all three, and then you spend a hell of a lot of time practicing and getting good at it, okay? And until you're a real master, okay? And then you're a master at Samadhi House. And people who are attracted or they want to learn meditation, they come to Samadhi House. They may join it and they may not join it. You see what I mean? But if a student comes up to Tim and says, I need more meditation, I don't understand how to meditate. Okay, go to Samadhi House, talk to the masters. That's where we keep the Samadhi masters. Okay, got it? Can you still meditate if you're not in Samadhi House? Duh. Okay. But this is where the masters are, okay? This is where the 50-year masters are hanging out, okay? All right, third house. I call it mountain house. We call it mountain house. Retreat master. These are the retreat masters. And it will work closely with Innovation Retreat Organization, I think. There will be close work together. And these are the retreat masters. These people. But when you talk about retreat, and we'll talk more about it, but there are classic Diamond Way retreat, 1,000 days. And then there's a 3-day business group retreat where you solve a business problem or something. And both masters are hanging out at Mountain House, okay? Go to Mountain House. Okay, you don't have to join Mountain House. You can go there for 6 months, talk to the Mountain House masters, get a good foundation in retreat skills, and then go back to your Samadhi House. You see what I mean? Or go back to your, what was the first one called? Classics House. Okay, we'll get used to the names. And Gina's working on your, what do you call those things? The logo of the house, like Slytherin. Okay, snake on a shield, right? Okay, so that's Mountain House, and retreat skills are deep in many skills, and we have them. We teach them, and Diamond Mountain we have a place. I mean, it took 25 years to build this place. It's the largest retreat center in the world, possibly. It's 1,096 acres or something. We own all these mountains, all the rocks, cactuses, snakes. Okay. So anyway, that's a whole different house. Okay. Can you still do retreat if you're a classics master? Yes, you're expected to, but that's not that's not your affiliation. Okay, official. Okay, staircase house. What's that? That's Lamrim, okay? And listen, it took 7 years to teach the ACI foundation courses. It took 14 years to teach the Lamrim. We will finish in Kyoto in December. And if you're not there, you're an idiot. Okay, because that's the end of a 14-year project. And you should be there. I mean, you should be there. And we're also lucky we survived to the end of the 14 years. We didn't know when we started, when Rebecca was picking bed bugs out of Prescott Boy Scout camp. Remember? We were sleeping in Boy Scout camp. The beds were too short. They had bed bugs. And they were stacked like this. And one lady smashed her head. She woke up and she sat up. And boom. And lots of fun. Then it snowed for the first time in 50 years or something. Anyway, it's a deep thing. If you're attracted to staircase lam rim, it means you're attracted to sharing spirituality with people in a way which is more accessible, and they don't have to study logic. Okay, they don't have to study the Geshe course. They don't have to go deep into Nagarjuna, which is what you're gonna do this week. Okay, it's lam rim. It's more comfortable. It's kind of Buddhism for everybody. Okay, but powerful, very, very powerful. Okay, so is that who you want to be? Do you want to be a master at lam rim, right? And go to Turkey and teach on the beach? I mean, it has its attraction. Okay, last one, then we gotta stop and pee-pee. Diamond House. And I use the picture because it's one of my favorite pictures, but it's a diamond cutting machine. There's a diamond between the two fingers here. And but the point is not the diamond. The point is the business. Okay, the point is not the diamond. The point is the business. I spent 19 years in that wonderful building in the corporate life. Okay, and I trained countless people in Buddhism who never knew they were being trained. Okay? I'm not kidding. Okay? Ani Pelma was an accident. Okay? But secret Buddhism. Okay? You're a master. You are training people in your business, customers, suppliers, investors. Okay? And nobody knew I was a Buddhist. I mean, after a long time, some of my close friends ended up coming to class or something. But I'd say 95% it was a secret path. 95% of the people didn't know I was a Buddhist, and they didn't know I was teaching Buddhism. But all day, every day, my staff was learning Buddhism, and real Buddhism. And it became the largest diamond jewelry company in the world, $250 million a year, and Warren Buffett bought it. So either it was goddamn good luck, or there was something going on, okay, inside. And that's secret. That's invisible Buddhism, okay? Got it? Right? And maybe that's where you want to be. Maybe that's the house you want to be. I'm not talking, kill chickens and drink blood, and it's not that kind of secret Buddhism, okay? There is no such thing, okay? This is an invisible practice that changes the people around you, okay? And your Nagya, what's Nagya? Your identification with the divine is going 8 hours a day, as you work. You are Vajrayogini sitting in the office buying diamonds, You see what I mean? And it's a powerful secret practice. Nobody knows what you're thinking. And but you are affecting the people around you. I would say it was the most successful jewelry business in the world, and it was the most ethical one. You understand? That's secret Buddhism, okay? That's Diamond Way, okay? And you might want to join that house, okay? All right, so I'm going to stop there because we got a pee-pee. I keep saying that, right? And each day that I teach, we will talk a little bit more about each house. But try to, at home today, examine your heart and say, where did my heart go dung, dung, dung? And maybe it was at the logic place. Like, ew. Okay, so start thinking. Okay, and it's exciting to be here on the first day of the 5 houses of the masters. 5 houses of the masters. Okay, thank you. Go. You're in the